Now, 95.9 FM WATD presents Friends with Benefits, exploring relationships, social issues, and life stories. Be a part of the show at 781-837-4900. Friends with Benefits with your host, Brian Stratton.
95.9 WATD, Friends with Benefits here on a Sunday. No Patriots game today, so we have a shot at being listened to throughout the greater region. But we do have a great roundtable today. We have a full squad, maybe because the Patriots aren't playing. Gabe, Sirota.
Hey, what do you say, Brian? Good to see you as always.
Nice to see you. Thanks for being back.
My pleasure.
We have our friend and intern, Andrew Devine. Hello.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
Great to see you, buddy.
Good to be here.
How's things in Norwell these days?
Just fine.
All right. I wouldn't expect any less.
I would hope not.
Now we're going to shift over to Cohasset and Paul Kearney from Atlanta Sports Club. How's Cohasset, Paul?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Life's good in those communities.
That's what I heard.
For Gabe and I, it's maybe not so good, but
yeah,
these guys live on the right side of the
wrong
tracks.
side of we're on the wrong side, Brian.
Absolutely, always been.
Yeah, that's just how it is. Life.
Just how you roll.
Exactly. You give me lemons and I'll make lemons. Yeah, it's good to be on the other side of the tracks. It gives me something to aspire to.
You're the man.
Did you see, before we get started, did you see the touchdown in the Oregon game yesterday? Where
there was a lot of them. They had 51 points.
Yes, true. But the absurd one where the Utah wide receiver crosses the end zone, drops the ball on the 1 yard line because he's going to celebrate his touchdown.
Oh.
He dropped the ball before he actually crossed the goal line.
I've seen this before.
Oregon picked it up and ran 99.5 yards for a touchdown. The guy didn't even carry the ball into the end zone. He dropped it and started posing, celebrating, doing his thing. Meanwhile, the other team turned it around for 6 points.
Yeah, can we have our scholarship back, sir?
Yeah, exactly.
Can we have that back?
I mean, oh my God.
Oh
I just don't understand it. And
who ended up winning the game?
Oregon won the game.
Yeah, they won the game, like in a landslide. I'm sure.
And they crushed them, but it was, I saw the video. I was like, what? How do you do that? How do you not carry the ball all the way into the end zone?
Shouldn't one of the things they teach you in college to be to follow through and make sure you get the job done?
No doubt.
Oh, he was multitasking. He was scoring a touchdown and performing a halftime show before the touchdown, right?
Exactly right.
That. Yeah. Anyways, and we got Ryan behind the board today. Hey, Ryan, what's happening, buddy?
What's going on?
Not too much. We're actually have a lot on the table to talk about this afternoon. A lot. We're gonna circle back to last week, where Brittany Maynard, who was a woman who had passed away. What do we call that, Gabe? Do you know what we call it? She was a woman who was terminally ill.
Yeah, they used to call it euthanasia. Basically.
Yep.
If to put someone out of their misery.
Yes.
And she made the decision to not suffer and to not have her family suffer with her. And she chose to end her life. And it's odd that you see stories like this for people at her young age.
Yeah, 29 years old.
Very young.
So we're going to go over that in toward the back half of the half hour. This first part of the segment, we're going to get into breast augmentation and implants, which I didn't know too much about. Something I've been seeing it in the news quite a bit. Really, overwhelmingly, there has been a lot of autoimmune disease disorders for women who had gotten implants 5 years or more, that they're dissolving. There's a lot of leakage. There's a lot of they're feeling awful sick, like their autoimmune system. It's almost like finding itself.
Well, what happens is it's a foreign body, and the immune system is going to fight it any chance it gets. I remember going back just a few years, there was discussion of silicone implants versus saline implants, because saline was much less toxic. But the bottom line is, anytime you're going to put something foreign into the body, it's going to react and fight against it.
There's no question.
And, clearly there are women who will say that their lives have been enhanced, no pun intended,
right,
by the implants. Their lives have changed. They've become, almost new women to themselves, and help them with their self-esteem and help them really become who they want to become. But the sort of payoff at the end is that unless you're careful and really understanding the impact it can have, you can run into some significant health problems.
You really can. We're going to, we have a clip from the Discovery Channel. It's just a 2-minute clip about, it was a little a trailer called Monster in Me. Mm-hmm. And it was a board certified implant specialist. See, the racket, the biggest racket is the Food and Drug Administration and the doctors. It's a big scam right now. They're not telling the patients all the risks that can happen. I mean, that's really their responsibility. If you're going to put something in somebody's body, I don't care if it's like a replacement joint or a new knee, like with titanium, whatever it is, there's always risk to that. And I don't mean like blood clots, and I'm talking about, like you said, the foreign. Yeah,
it becomes a chemical interaction that can throw off all kinds of systems in your body.
Right, and it's like antibodies and microorganisms, and it just becomes a mess. Ryan, why don't we pull that up?
That morning, Catherine contacts Dr. Susan Kolb, a local plastic surgeon.
She called and said that she was having symptoms of fibromyalgia, symptoms of neurological problems.
She immediately knew what I was talking about, and then even brought up a symptom that I hadn't mentioned, which was the pain down my arm.
The problems that Catherine had were very typical of other patients having severe problems with their breast implants.
To find out if Catherine's implants could have been making her ill, Dr. Kolb must physically inspect them. 72 hours later, Catherine is taken into surgery.
We put her to sleep on the table, and then we make an incision just above the crease of the breast. And we go to the scar tissue around the implant. Then we opened it up and took the implant out.
I remember waking up to Dr. Kolb standing by my side saying, Catherine, you're not going to believe this. Both of your implants were black.
Couldn't believe it. I was disgusted. And then I understood. I understood how they could have been making her sick. And the fact that I did not believe Catherine, that I doubted her, that I thought this was in her head, I felt horrible.
When I saw Catherine's implant, I knew that the implant was making her extremely ill. It was black with particles floating in it.
Catherine's implants are made up of a silicon sac that should be filled with a clear saline fluid. Whatever is floating inside the dark liquid has been poisoning Catherine for months.
The implant was sent to an expert that was able to show the presence of microorganisms. The major fungus found inside her implants was Aspergillus niger.
The spores of Aspergillus niger have somehow penetrated Catherine's implants. Here they float through the liquid saline filling, feeding on blood proteins and reproducing. As the colonies grow, they release toxins that poison Catherine's body.
The fungus Aspergillus niger is relatively common and often found in bathrooms. It's the black mold that grows in the sealant around a tub, but can also infect people. If a person breathes in a large quantity of spores, the spores can establish a colony in their airways. Once established, the mold can cause breathing difficulties and lung disease.
There you have it, guys. So
wow.
It's a 3-minute trailer.
It's scary, scary, scary. To think about that, the mold that you find in your bathtub was inside her body.
It's unbelievable. 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900 here, or ctamanagement@rocketmail.com. Any comments, or if you know anybody who's been through this. See, what I don't particularly like about this more than anything is the doctors. Like, they know what's going on. I mean, they have patients coming to them after 5 years, and these patients are complaining of these off-the-wall symptoms, and they're all pretty consistent with each other. And they mirror kind of lupus, chronic fatigue, numbness of the arms. But they're convincing their patients that it has nothing to do with the implants. And because they're trying to avoid lawsuits, they're trying to. It's just a bad practice, and I can't believe. Oh, we have somebody on the line. Is that up? Hi, Samantha. You're on the line.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you? Have you? You have any comments for what we just heard?
I have gone through exactly what Dr. Kolb's been talking about, and my doctor's telling me absolutely not that the saline implants are safe. And I know from being a very healthy person to what I've gone through that it's the implants that are making me sick.
How long have you had implants for?
I've had them in for 7 years. One of them ruptured recently, and that's, when I started having so much trouble.
So, basically, was it okay for the first 3-4 years? Was your health fine?
I didn't notice any problems. Probably for the first 5 years. Up until then I started becoming sick, not realizing it was from the breast implant. And continuously, my health has gotten worse over the course of years, where I can't even work.
What does your doctor say about these symptoms?
He tells me that it has nothing to do with the implants, that I'm being ridiculous and silly. Nobody can find an answer to why I'm getting fibromyalgia. And my body's being depleted of all its natural electrolytes and vitamins.
Right, all your energy is being taken in the fight against these foreign bodies, these foreign substances. So where are you now? What happened with the ruptured implant, and what have you done since then?
Well, I went back to my surgeon. He was going to replace them. The company was going to pay for it in full. But my doctor started lying to me, and I lost all faith in him, so I had to walk away from my surgery.
What kind of lies did you detect? I mean, now, do you go to a Massachusetts hospital or out of are you from this area?
I'm from Hyannis.
Okay.
And my doctor is a well-known surgeon in Hyannis.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Really?
Well, there's a couple of pretty good surgeons down there, I guess. But so tell us a little bit about that. About did he gave you surgery 7 years ago?
7 years ago, yep.
Okay, and in the last year or two, you've had major problems.
Yeah, started with a slow leak.
And he agreed to replace or fix it, no cost?
Right. But
Okay.
what he has to do is send my implants back to the company for reimbursement.
Okay. So
I've also contacted a lawyer who says I need to have those breast implants in my possession in order to even have any suit against.
So now if he goes and takes them out, then they're his property, basically.
Correct.
So then you have nothing. So basically,
Right.
all he's saying is, "I'll take them out and we'll just call it a day."
Correct. But
Yeah.
he's not going to do the procedure that really needs to be done, because apparently, from what I've been told, you really need to have the whole capsule taken out.
Wow.
There's poison around that capsule that develops in your body, and it's full of all that. The actual implants are silicone on the outside.
Right. So what I've heard is they deteriorate over time, and for some reason it seems like 5 year is the threshold. They say that after 5 years, people start to see. And I don't know if you go on any blogs or chat rooms, but
I have been.
I just started too, just in the last day, researching this. Overwhelming, and I know plenty of women that have had that surgery and have implants, and I know a good handful of them that are having the exact same symptoms you are right now, and their doctors are telling them, you're crazy. This might be something psychological. I don't know if anybody's told you that.
I've been told that. Yeah.
but what they're doing is they're basically covering their best interest, and a lot of these doctors are bending over backwards for some of these patients too, going, well, like what's happening to you, we'll take care of it all in-house, we'll take it out for free to avoid a lawsuit.
Correct.
Because if you go to somebody else and get those taken out, now he's in trouble. Let's just put it that way. Or even the medical. I don't know how the Food and Drug Administration lets this happen. I mean, this is pretty high profile at this point.
Yeah, I mean, these products get approved very, very quickly, and a lot of them are fast-tracked. I mean, breast enhancement surgery has been going on for years and years and years, and I have a friend who does valuations for a Wall Street firm, and she was looking at a company that was making implants. This is going back 7 or 8 years now, making implants that were impervious to leaking. At least that's what they were selling. I don't know if that product got approved, but Samantha, where are you now? I mean, what is your next step in this fight?
My next step, after losing faith in my doctor actually faked a phone call to my primary care physician and told me that it was safe to have the surgery done. My doctor knows I have a sensitivity to salt since this happened. And so putting salt back into my body is not what it needs, even though our bodies are composed mostly of salt water. Mm-hmm. Too much salt in my system actually causes my blood pressure to drop below 100.
Wow.
Which can get very scary.
Of course.
But for him to fake a phone call to my doctor and then for me to find out later on, my doctor hadn't talked to him in months. I said to myself, I can't go under the knife with this man.
So Samantha, do you mind if you could tell us who the doctor is, or?
His name is Dr. Fader. Hyannis.
I've heard of him. Yep, I've heard of him. He's been doing that for years and years.
Right.
He's probably been 15 or 20 years.
The problem is he's lying to his patients. He's telling them they're good for a lifetime, that you really don't ever have to switch them out. Unless there's a problem.
But that's impossible because I'm right on Wikipedia right now, which gives you the whole history. I mean, and breast implants were actually, this is funny, not funny, but they were conceptualized in 1890. So in 1890, and they would put foreign substances like rubber and other kind of plastics.
Wow.
That would now.
Suzanne, how...
This is Paul Kearney, by the way.
Hi, Suzanne, and I'm sorry you're going through this. God bless you.
Samantha.
I'm sorry. I have a daughter named Samantha. I'm sorry. I should know that. Hi, Samantha.
Hi, how are you?
And I'm really sorry to hear that you're going through this. This isn't something that, you're taught to trust your doctor and know that he's in the best interest of you. And when you come up with this, it goes to, what do you do from here? Like, is it any of this covered by insurance? I mean, is there any way you can go and, is this a medical procedure? Maybe you can go through your health insurance?
Unfortunately, because they won't link any of my symptoms to my implants, my insurance company won't cover anything. It's an elective surgery.
Okay,
so
it was an elective surgery.
Well, I get that, but
represent me so I can get out and fixed.
What it's saying is, let me tell you something, and I know what Samantha's talking about. These chronic fatigues, these lupuses, these symptoms, just like what she's having, autoimmune disease is the hardest detectable disease there is to man. There's so many gray areas that the medical profession, a lot of the time, they want to push it off to the psychiatry profession. You know what I mean? It's like, so I can understand why an insurance company, those are vague symptoms. Like, you know what I'm saying, Samantha? They can't. That's not a diagnostic test. So these women come up with all these aches and pains, but you go in an MRI tube, you can't see it. You can't see it. It's not tangible. Right. It's not like a broken ankle. It's not like a tumor.
Yeah, it's very difficult to diagnose stuff like that. And, if they can find some underlying psychiatric diagnosis, it sort of lessens the burden. But from the patient's perspective, needless to say, that doesn't lessen your pain and your suffering. And I think what we have now is a real medical issue. I mean, this is, yes, you elected to have the implants, but they're now causing you real, tangible medical symptoms. Maybe there is an advocacy group that has dealt with this before that you could look out to. Maybe there are patient advocates that might be able to help you put something together to help expedite that process of linking your symptoms to the medical root cause. Do you know?
that
I
would
mean,
be nice.
I personally don't know
That's
anything
what I'm
about them, but yeah, Paul.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what
I
I'm
think Paul
thinking.
was
Like
getting
that,
to.
if it's a disease or your body is in, and that's how they write it up. Basically, if you're, yeah, I would absolutely. I mean, and I think any good doctor could find his way to find something that would be something that this should be covered. I mean, if it doesn't, I mean,
there's got to be a medical necessity, you know. And I worked at a health plan. I worked at health plans for 10 years when I was in New York, and you know, medical necessity is the name of the game. I mean, if they were to put in a new hip for you, and your body rejected the hip, that would be a covered procedure. You know, the fact that you put in a breast implant, to me, should fall under the same category. It's causing you real
But it's not.
tangible-
But it's not because it's an elective surgery.
Right,
It's
obviously.
a cosmetics. It's almost like
Cosmetic.
getting a facelift.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you get a blood clot from a facelift, they're not going to cover that.
True. No, and it's
And I
completely
get it.
right.
I understand it to a way because everybody would be going in for cosmetic
The
surgeries.
clot.
You follow me? It's
well, it's part, but like you said, if it's something that's not, if it's foreign in your body and it rejects it, who cares where it came from? If it,
Yeah.
what I think what they're saying is hey, that's a private thing. We don't cover that, and kind of pushing that off. And I think your rights are being violated there. And do you have a state rep in the district? Are you from this area?
No, I don't.
Well, I would get in touch with your state rep and
yeah,
see
from
what-
whatever town you're from.
Right.
You should go down to the town hall and find out who your state representative is.
Oh, you could find out online. You
Okay,
could just do a quick
online.
search and reach out to him and see if he can advocate for you for the state, or maybe he can find somebody in the human resources department, not health and human resources.
Correct.
In the state, and see if you can reach out that way.
But
Because
then,
I don't think it's fair that you have to
No.
go back to a guy. You know, it's kind of like you lost the trust, you lost the faith. You know, I mean, if I got a colonoscopy and the guy nipped my colon, would I want to go back to him? What are you, crazy? I mean,
Absolutely not.
Why should she be subject to go back to him? Because it's a private matter? That's not true. This is your body. You rejected it. It should be covered under insurance.
If I could go on a limb, I would assume this guy has, the one thing he does have is that he will
Medical.
do this for free.
Well,
He'll do it for free at this point, where if you go somewhere else, you have to pay cash.
Well, I think you should get representation, and I think you should go to a doctor that you have trusted and have him pay for it. I mean, that's just...
Well, you have to sue him for that.
Well, you don't really have to... you know what? I don't think anybody wants to get sued. I'll tell you that. So if he could find another person that he can make a deal with or whatever, somebody
Think I
that
would
you
trust
trust...
Anyone who would make a deal with the devil?
No. I'm just saying that. Say you... Obviously, you got to get this procedure done, Samantha,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, I do.
Why can't you get it done with somebody? Why don't you get to interview a couple doctors, okay? And then have him say, look, I don't feel comfortable with you, and try to work it out that way. Because if I'm him, I'm not going to mess with you. I'll tell you that right now. Especially...
Well, here's the problem I have. If I take them out completely, it's going to cost about $6,000. That's not covered by anybody. And that's to put my nipple back up to where it should be. If I just remove them, I'm going to end up with these boobs that are just going to sag down so big and look all floppy.
No, you don't want that.
No, I don't want that.
So $6,000 would fix it correctly?
It would fix it correctly, but I do lose all my breast tissue that I originally had and additional breast tissue for the surgery.
Can we say that, first of all, another problem is he doesn't want you to have those taken out anywhere, because then they can be observed, and then the legal team can jump in, right? I would think that would be the case.
Well, as you know, Brian, most of these doctors collaborate together.
Yeah, that's
they
true.
They don't want to be sued.
That's true. You know what? There is probably an alliance and a collusion, and I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt that.
Samantha, are you being represented by an attorney?
No, I'm not. I would love to find one who would represent me, because it's not an easy thing being a medical problem. It's not proven, and it could end up, costing money for all these expert witnesses.
I wonder if your state rep would know a lawyer who specifically works in this field. Like, you know how you have,
personal injury. Well, this is personal injury.
Absolutely.
I think you categorize under personal injury, and I also think that he has. I mean, it costs you nothing to sit down, and I'm not a lawyer, but I do know that they're all free consultations. So you might want to see if your rights are being invaded or violated. And a lot of attorneys, you got to remember, a lot of them are good people. I mean, we blast them on the show a lot.
We do.
I have a lot of good friends, and my attorney's great, and they'll reach out and they'll give you a free consultation.
Absolutely. I happen to know a personal injury attorney that I know relatively well and trust, and I can get his name and information to Ryan so that, Samantha, you could take that information down and check him out and at least give him a call and maybe see if he'd be interested in talking to you and maybe help you make sense of this and support you as you move forward. Like Paul was saying, we do have some fun on the show talking about attorneys and their practices, but at the same time, when you need somebody to really support you and be there, if you have a principled guy who really knows the system and has been working to help people get better for years, it might really be worth your time at least to reach out and
he also might, Samantha, he might have like an advocacy group that you can reach out to that he would know.
Because let me tell you something, these symptoms you are having, you're not imagining, and they are specifically because of this, in my opinion.
Right.
Because I'm hearing this left and right.
Yes. Plus, not only that, I mean, we don't really know where they're going to go from here. Every day you continue to have that foreign substance in your body, the worse the symptoms are going to get. But it's not just symptoms. I mean, your nervous system is being impacted by this. We don't know the long-term impact of this. So, it's time to, in my book, step up and do whatever you can starting right away to help yourself get healthier. That's going to be the key. I mean, this could have irreparable damage. And we don't, needless to say, we don't want that.
It does have irreparable damage. I'm at $2,500 a month in prescription medications alone just to keep me mobile.
Right.
Wow.
So there we go. I mean, right there, even today, you're feeling this, and it could only get worse from here. That's. I'm sorry to hear this.
Samantha, what do you mean by keeping you mobile? What would $2,500 worth of prescriptions keep you mobile?
Well, it started with needing something like Celebrex to just get up and keep moving because my joints and my bones were hurting, and then it increased to the point where it started attacking the tops of my arms, my legs, all the way down to my toes, feel burning and fire, tingling, burning, almost like needles at times. It changes day to day. You have flu-like symptoms, so you constantly feel like you're sick.
Totally.
Yeah.
I hear it all. Listen, it's a poison in your body.
Absolutely.
Also, too,
poisonous.
Well, let me ask you a couple other questions. Now, do you exercise? Do you have diet and exercise involved in your program right now?
They just started me doing some light walking.
Okay.
Because even that's been a struggle to get up and walk. It's a day-to-day thing. It changes.
Right.
But there were months I spent in bed unable to do anything for myself. Couldn't cook, couldn't clean, couldn't do my own laundry.
Wow.
It got that bad.
And now let me tell you something, and I'm just going to say this for the third time. I know 3 other females that are going through the exact same thing right now. The same symptoms, the same complaints, everything. And it's the getting out of the bed thing.
Right.
I heard that. It's like I said, it's a poison in your body, and your immune system's fighting it as hard as it can, and it's exhausting your physical body because of the fight.
Yeah, you're sleeping about 20 hours a day.
Wow.
Right.
Well, I'd be on. To be honest, I think that's what you need to do. I think you got to get some representation, and you got to get somebody that has a wellness plan for you. And that it's good to hear you that you're doing some light walking, and that's what's going to really, diet and exercise is a lot of key ways to get off of some of those prescriptions as slow as you can. First, get the toxins out of your body and get some good medical help. I mean, I would go to the emergency room. That's what I would do and say, look, I need help.
That's what I did do. When I couldn't walk, I started walking like I had MS. So I went to the emergency room. That's where they found that I was deficient in magnesium, potassium, and vitamin B12. And my body will not replenish these on its own. I have to orally take these prescriptions on a regular basis now.
And like I said, it's unfortunate that, I mean, I got to think that these plastic surgeons and these doctors have heard these complaints as much as I have. I'm not even a doctor.
Yeah, I would hope that there's got to be, an aesthetic or a plastic surgeon out there who would want to help you in that, he could remove the implants with the idea that you would be utilizing him for further services. Maybe, do the first portion of it for free and, with some kind of agreement that you would utilize him for any reconstruction going forward. But I hope you can find a way to get that out of your body. Clearly your symptoms are not going to go away on their own, and this isn't something that fixes itself. And I know I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. But, our hope for you is that you're able to take control and see if you can rid your body of these chemical foreign substances.
I'm hoping you have a caller out there who could help me.
Yes, well, we'll put this out there, especially on the email. If somebody doesn't want to talk about it and just wants to email me, ctamanagement@rocketmail.com. We get dozens and dozens of emails per show on our subject. So ctamanagement@rocketmail.com. Samantha, thank you for calling the show and giving us your insight and being a contributor. Gabe?
Samantha, but I'm just going to run to Ryan, our producer, and get him the name of that attorney. He's has 2 offices in the South Shore. When we take you off the air, sit with him and get that information and maybe give him a call and see if he'd be able to help you.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
God bless him.
Okay. We're going to go off to commercial break. You've been listening to Friends with Benefits, 95.9 WATD.
Hey, this is Steve Lucas here from Toto. Hi, this is Kenny Loggins. This is Ted Nugent, celebrating the American dream.
Hi, this is Mike Love of the Beach Boys.
Hi, this is Darryl Hall.
Hi, this is Robert Lamb with Chicago.
Hi, everybody. It's Joe Walsh.
Hello, everybody. This is Graham Nash from the Hollies and from Crosby, Stills & Nash and Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, of course. Right now, you're listening to me on my friend Brian Stratton's show. It's on WATD 95.9.
The law office of Philip M. Markella is a full-service law firm with a focus on family and divorce law. When your marriage dissolves, Phil's office will help you navigate those often rough waters. They'll represent your interests with respect and compassion. The law office of Philip M. Markella also assists with estate planning, real estate transactions, and adoptions. Get in touch with the law office of Philip M. Markella, 19 Depot Street, Duxbury. Their telephone number, 781-934-7977, 781-934-7977, and on the web at markellalaw.com. That's MARKELLA law.com. Experience the Atlantis Sports Club difference. Atlantis Sports Club and Spas are located throughout Massachusetts, including locations in Braintree, Holbrook, and Hyannis, featuring state-of-the-art cardiovascular and strength training equipment, plus indoor and outdoor pools and full-service spas. Atlantis offers something for everyone. How about Zumba, spinning, and strength training classes, swim lessons for the kids, or a luxurious spa treatment? Your Atlantis membership allows access to all locations. Atlantis Braintree, located off the highway across from the South Shore Plaza, features beautiful indoor and outdoor pools. You'll find the newest Holbrook location next to Stop and Shop with plenty of parking and a spacious floor plan. Take a mini vacation at Atlantis Sports Club and Spa in Hyannis. Play golf, then relax by the resort-style pool. End the day with a relaxing treatment at the spa at Atlantis. Mention this ad and receive 20% off any spa treatment. Experience the Atlantis difference today. Visit AtlantisSportsClubs.com and book your tour today.
Hey, it's Brian Stratton, and I'd like to talk to you about Mamma Mia's restaurant. With 5 convenient locations around the South Shore, you don't have to drive far to enjoy delicious Italian cuisine, just the way you like it. Whether you're in Carver, Plymouth, Hanover, Kingston, or the new location in Green Harbor, Mamma Mia's is something to please any palate. Catering, gift cards, and takeout are available 7 days a week. Contact Mamma Mia's online at mammamias.net. That's mammamias.net. Hi, this is Brian Stratton from the band The Infractions. Just recently, my friend Tim Heinstead from Southeast Property Management told me about Paul Bartlett of Duxbury. Paul has been diagnosed with leukemia and has gone through aggressive treatments to help conquer this disease in the past weeks. On Saturday, November 22nd at 7:30, join the Infractions and many of Paul's friends and join our fundraising kickoff benefit for Paul at the Duxbury American Legion. There will be food, music, and a 50-50 raffle. Again, join us at the American Legion Hall on Route 3A. Saturday, November 22nd at 7:30 p.m. for this very worthy cause. We thank you.
That's who can't do business together. Chinese people and Indian people cannot do business together. Because Indians cannot live without a bargain, and Chinese people cannot give you a bargain. Their objective is to get every penny from you, and ours is to keep every penny. There's a really bad power struggle there. I went to this Chinese mall. That's the wrong place for an Indian guy to go. I saw this bag. I wanted to buy this bag there. I go, how much? I go to the Chinese guy behind the counter. How much? He goes, $35. How about 30? And Chinese people will never tell you no. They'll tell you no, the longest no you've ever heard in your life. Like you just said, the most ridiculous thing they've ever heard in their life. I'll give you 30. No. I can't do $30. I sell you $30 today. You come tomorrow. I'll close down. I'm like, all right, well then give me a deal on the purse, man. I don't want to pay $35. Okay, 1 sec. I talked to my wife. 1 second. Thank you. Okay, you seem like nice guy. I'll give you best price. $34.50. I'm like, that's 50 cents, man. He goes, 50 cents a lot of money. You save 50 cents here, then maybe you go somewhere else, you save another 50 cents. Then you have $1. Then you take your dollar, you go to the dollar store, you buy something else. He starts turning into my money manager or something. Let me financial plan for you. I'm like, you know what, dude, forget it. I don't want it, it's not a deal. He starts telling me stuff that has nothing to do with anything. I go, I'm leaving. He goes, hey, be a man. Be a man. Do the right thing. What are you talking about, do the right thing? Maybe you don't buy the purse right now. You go somewhere, you walk around the mall, you see something else, you don't buy, you come back, you say, hey, I want the purse for $34.50. I say, no. You don't get for $34.50 now, price gone up maybe $40. Be a man. You just can't do business, man.
.9 WATD, Friends with Benefits here on a Sunday afternoon, full roundtable. Let me shut that monitor off. That's my fault, Ryan. I'm sorry.
That's Feedback Central right there.
Do we have Kim on the line?
Hello.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Brian. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, it's Tim. He has you on as Kim. I was waiting for a female voice, Tim. I'm sorry. So, guys, I want to introduce my friend Tim Heinstead from, Southeast Property Management. Is that right, Tim?
That's correct.
That's right. Now, we want to talk about a benefit that's going on in Duxbury on November 22nd. Tim has a good friend. Tim, tell us a little bit about the story.
Yes, Paul's been a long life resident in Duxbury, and just recently he was diagnosed with acute leukemia, which has taken a toll on his everyday life and his family and so on. And we've set up a fundraiser on Saturday, November 22nd at 7:30 p.m. at the Duxbury American Legion to benefit Paul and help offset some of his medical costs and such as that. Unfortunately, he's unable to work due to his leukemia and chemotherapy.
Is he in and out of the hospital at this point, or totally in, or?
He just went in for a maintenance chemo because he's put off his bone marrow transplant, which he's going to need till after the holidays. So at least he's able to be home with his family and enjoy the holidays, and he'll go in after for a full bone marrow transplant. So it's not an easy thing for any of the listeners. I'm sure have either had family members themselves. It takes a toll on you. You don't think this stuff happens to somebody who's in their 40s. It's a very low percentage for somebody his age to actually be diagnosed with such a a tough battle and disease.
Yeah, I mean, what I don't really know, Paul, but what I hear, he's a fairly young guy, maybe 50 years old or in that range.
Yeah, that's correct. He's in his mid-40s.
Okay, mid-40s. So at this point, he's doing chemo in Boston, I take it?
That's correct. He's at Beth Israel Deaconess in Boston.
When did he get diagnosed for this, Tim?
About 2 months ago, roughly. And he was not feeling well, and he was weak and always tired, so he ended up going down to Jordan, and they ran some blood tests, and they were so surprised that he was actually still alive based on his blood cell count. His red blood cell count was so off that they were actually shocked, so they sent him right to Boston immediately, and he started treatment within hours of arriving. So it's been quite a ride, and it's not over, unfortunately, yet. So we've decided to do this benefit for him and help raise some money for him and his offset some of his medical costs and for his family. It's not an easy thing.
Sure. Well, it's great, Tim, that you're such a willing friend to lend a helping hand to a friend in town. That's November 22nd at the American Legion Hall in Duxbury, and I was fortunate enough to assemble a couple of the guys from my band, the Infractions, to donate some of their time to perform. For some of the guests at the Legion Hall. The Legion does a lot of these benefits because I just did one maybe like 3 or 4 months ago there. It seems like the place in Duxbury.
Yeah, they're very, very generous in helping us out as well. We'd like to say, big thank you to them as the same to you and the band for donating your time and helping us out for this cause.
Well, we have the PSA made. I don't know if you got to hear the commercial, but we have that made. We've been running it all afternoon. So
I did hear it. It's great. It's we're overwhelmed with the support that people have given us and donating their time to help out. It's a lot of work goes into this stuff, and when things come like this so quick, it takes quite a bit of people to get something in uniform so fast.
Right.
I've worked with you, Brian, on a couple of these similar events in the past, and as you know, it's not an easy thing to get together in a quick moment.
It's tough, but the good thing is that, especially in this local community, a lot of the small businesses always step up and donate. And you're doing a 50-50 raffle, so if anybody out there has any questions about that, you can call Tim Heinstead, and you can email us too if you want to donate something.
Absolutely. Brian, I'd like to donate. Tim, and God bless you. Good work. I would definitely bring the wife. Well, it sounds like a great time, and I'd love to donate a membership to the club or a spa package, and I can get that over to Brian as soon as possible.
Oh, well, thank you very much. We do have a couple of things set up if you are unable to make it to the Legion on Saturday night. There is, if you go online to the GoFundMe.com and you search in the search bar the Paul Bartlett Leukemia Fund, you can donate there, as well as if you can't make it to the Legion. And Rockland Trust has also set up an account there, and if you'd like to send a check, you can send a check to the Paul Bartlett Benefit account at Rockland Trust, P.O. Box 1627 in Duxbury, Mass. 02331 as well. And some of the items on the raffle, the 50-50 raffle, there'll be two types of the raffle. One will be for a very nice set of Bruins tickets that comes with 2 tickets. It's 6 rows back from the ice, as well as a gift certificate to the top of the hub for that evening. So there's that. There's other restaurants have donated gift certificates and so on and so forth. So there'll be plenty of stuff to be, to donate to have a chance to either go to the Bruins or some of the other nice things that have been donated. So
that sounds awesome. And Brian, you guys going to be playing there?
We have some of the members of the band that are available.
Awesome.
To do a couple of sets.
Yeah, we got some good food there. It sounds like a great night out. And
there's a great bunch of people in Duxbury, and Paul and his friends are all good people.
I'll get my friends out there as well.
That's great.
Yeah, Coletti and all those guys.
Oh yeah, he's a good Duxbury man.
Good Duxbury hockey player over there. So we'll gather up the troops and be over there Saturday, the November 22nd at the Legion Hall. What time does it start?
It starts at 7:30.
awesome. Awesome. I mean, it goes to. I just want to make sure how long I get a babysitter
I think
for.
it runs till 10 or 11. I'm not.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you exactly. I don't have that on me right now, but.
And we'll have a party at Coletti's after.
Yeah.
Yep.
Joey doesn't know it yet, but I'll inform him that the half the party's going to be at his house. He'll get a police detail. We're all set.
We got it.
All right, Tim. Well, thanks for checking in, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it so much.
God bless.
Thanks,
Keep up the
Tim.
good work, Tim.
Yeah, good
Thanks
work,
a lot.
Tim. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, guys. So we've had a lot of a lot of medical stuff. This is like the medical show.
I'll tell you too, and
Yeah.
Brian, hats out. I just want to give a plug to a benefit that we plugged the other night for
Last night.
Costa and Lisa Costa. Awesome Alzheimer's benefit over in Rockland. They had a band there, and I had the pleasure of raffling off the Gronk shirt. And
What did
Gronk.
that yield?
Well, our
Anything?
good friend Larry bought it. I started off at 5,000. Everybody kind of laughed at me, but I said, "Hey, it's going to be a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer." We ended up getting 550 from Larry.
Really?
All right.
Yeah, Graza.
Yeah, he's about Gronk size.
Yeah,
He's
he can
huge.
fit in the shirt, maybe.
Guys.
So that was great. And then she sang a beautiful. She had lost her mom at 71 to Alzheimer's, where it's a front lobal growth. And
Yeah,
basically-
Alzheimer's is one of the. I mean, and Gabe probably knows this too, being in your medical background too.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things that the wheels come off and they come off fast.
They come off fast, yeah. I mean, you could literally be talking to your mom one week, and then the following month or less, she does no longer know your name.
and it happened to me with my grandmother.
It's the same here. It happened to my grandmother as
Oh,
well.
it did, Andrew?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. It
Really?
was the saddest thing to see. And she lived in Albany, so we didn't get to see her very often. So
Oh.
when we were able to get to see her, it was just, she was degrading at a very it was slower in terms of rate, but it still was shocking to see her deteriorate like that. It was awful.
Yeah,
was there family there for her?
Yeah, well, my
Son?
grandfather was still alive at the time, and he took great care of her.
Okay.
He learned to cook, he learned to clean, and he was in his 80s at the time, and he learned to do all that just to take care of her. And he continued to take care of himself even after she passed away. And it was a heartbreaking story, but he soldiered on through it.
That's one of those things with Alzheimer's
marriage.
too. Yeah, it is good.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
they had a
old
wonderful
school.
marriage.
Yeah, old school.
Yeah.
Old school is
God
right.
bless.
That's what I was thinking. Old school.
Yeah.
People who are just there for each other forever.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and this benefit was the first because her mom passed away, and she wrote a song last night, and she sang 2 songs. She, as Brian knows, she's also an entertainer, and wow, it was just unbelievable, and I was so proud of them. They really, for the first event that they started, and every year I'm sure it's going to grow and grow, and
Sure.
and hats off to you again, Brian, for
problem.
bringing the show on and bringing having awareness to all these benefits. And everybody knows too. It's funny because every time I ever go to a golf tournament or any kind of a charity event, I always have a good time. If I go to a political event, those are like the worst things in the world. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can't wait to get out of here. But anytime I go to you always seem to have a good time.
It's a positive thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're all there for a cause. I mean, that's what binds you together.
Exactly right. It's that undercurrent of a good vibe. You're riding that good vibe, and I think that that's so important, especially when we're talking about raising money. If you want to attract people to come out and really enjoy themselves for the cause, it's just you can't argue against it.
Yeah, and you know what? That leads me into what we were talking about, like just giving back. Like, how much do the Bible says you're supposed to give 10% back, and he's not talking about like writing a check and saying, okay, like I'm an accountant and I make X amount of dollars. Here's my check for $400 a month or $500 a month. That's not what he's talking about. I think it's more like outreach and how much time you're going to give to the Lord. And I don't think a lot of people do that here in the Commonwealth. But I just wanted to ask you a question to see if you guys know. Where do you think Massachusetts stands going to church? Where do you think we are?
In terms of
from 1 through 50 of attending church regularly?
I would say,
don't look it up, Brian.
Somewhere in the middle, probably.
Probably
right?
in the middle, yeah. 20 to 30.
Andrew?
I have no idea.
You gotta give it a shot.
I would say probably late 20s, probably early 30s.
How about you, Brian?
I said right in the middle.
44.
Right, back at the end.
We're back at the end. Someone who started, you're right, that's a great analogy, because you know what? We started in the front, right here in Plymouth. I mean, that's why they came here.
Right, that's why religious freedom. Isn't that ironic?
I know, right?
Yeah, and now we're in the most. As a matter of fact, it's funny because it leads into the casinos that we were talking about. And interesting enough, it got 60-40 as I don't know if you guys remember that, but it got 60-40, and it's interesting because
was that the final tally?
Yeah, it was like 60-40.
60-40 on the casino bill.
Yeah.
Okay.
And everywhere they were going to build the casino, there was green around the area. In other words, up in Amherst, they voted yes on 3.
Okay.
All the way around the surrounding towns.
That's what carried the state vote for the most part?
Yeah, it was the place to see. The thing that what we happened here in the South Shore, and the South Shore was all green, all red, meaning no, that they voted if you looked at the map, except for Cohasset and Hingham, which I'm proud to say that we voted green, which was the only town in the whole South Shore. And it's interesting because they didn't give them the 3rd casino license.
Okay.
Do you think that would have made a difference of what people voted if they knew there was going to be in Taunton versus...
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a really, really good question.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably easier to not vote.
Right, yeah.
I would think it's easier to not vote or to just stay out of it if it's not going to be in your backyard.
Right,
exactly. But do you see how that's all red down in the corner? Do you think that would have changed if they gave the casino here in the middle? I mean, if it's showing here and it's showing here, I'm sure. Because, to be honest with you, it's pretty embarrassing that the South Shore voted 60% of people want to gamble. I think that it had to do with the fact that it's not going to be in our backyard. But it is. It's just that no one knows where it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
It's coming, right?
Well, where in the South Shore are they going to put one?
They're going to. Well, the southeastern Mass, right here.
Well, that's
Taunton. Right here.
I don't call Taunton the South Shore.
It's like the South Coast or something like
South
that.
South Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's just my thought. I mean, do you call Taunton the South Shore?
You know what? I think it's close to the South Shore. I think 6 casinos is going to bankrupt us. I mean, I don't think it's. Mm-hmm. We're either going to bankrupt them by not going, but if 60% of the people said that they were going to go gamble, is that what they're saying? I mean, what is this 60%?
I don't know. I don't know that that's what that means. It may mean that we're going to commercial, but it also
that's what it means, Gabe.
Well, why don't we finish this on the back end?
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it in the next hour. You're listening to 95.9 WATD, Friends with Benefits. We'll be right back.
One fine morning, girl, I'll wake up, wipe the sleep from my eyes, go outside and feel the sunshine. Then I know I'll realize that as long as you love me, girl, we'll fly. And on that morning when I wake up, I'll see your face inside a cloud, see you smile inside a window, hear your voice inside a crowd, calling, come with me, baby, and we'll fly.
The South Shore's first choice for live team coverage of breaking news, emergency traffic, severe weather, and high school football. 95.9 WATD FM Marshfield and 95.9WATD.com.
AP Radio News. I'm Ed Donahue. Republicans in Congress don't want President Obama to act on his own to make changes in the immigration system.
I think it'd be like the president pulling the pin out of the hand grenade and throwing it in as we're trying to actually work together.
That is Wyoming Republican Senator John Barrasso on Fox News Sunday. But the president says he wants to get something going. Congress, he says, still has control over immigration reform.
They have the ability, the authority, the control to supersede anything I do through my executive authority by simply carrying out their functions over there.
Obama was on CBS's Face the Nation. He is expected to issue an order before the end of the year. Meantime, the first known immigrant to practice law in the U.S. after entering the country illegally has opened an office in Northern California. Sergio Garcia doesn't practice immigration law, as many might expect after he endured a bruising 5-year legal battle. He practices civil litigation. Kenneth Bay's sister says the ordeal is over.
We're thankful that God never abandoned Kenneth, even when he was isolated alone. We're thankful that God never abandoned us, even though the last years have been a journey that we wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Bay and fellow American Matthew Miller are back in the U.S. after being released from North Korea. Analysts who study North Korea said the decision to free them, now from long prison terms, probably was a bid to ease pressure in connection with North Korea's human rights record. A man is in the hospital after catching fire on top of a New York City-bound commuter train in Greenwich, Connecticut. Crew members were trying to figure out why the train lost power when they found him. Disney has this weekend's #1 movie at the box office, Big Hero 6.
When are you going to start doing something with that big brain of yours?
What, go to college like you? So people can tell me stuff I already know?
The story of the robot Baymax is #1, followed by Matthew McConaughey's new movie. This is AP Radio News.
Good afternoon, everyone. For this afternoon, we'll have a blend of sun and clouds with a high temperature near 55 degrees as the wind blows in from the west at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, we'll have a clear start, followed by increasing clouds. Expect a low temperature near 35 degrees. For you Monday, we'll have lots of clouds mixed with some sunshine. Temperatures will reach a high in the middle 50s. For Tuesday, we'll have lots of clouds with spotty light drizzle. Expect a high temperature in the middle 50s, and the outlook for Wednesday will have a blend of sunshine and clouds. It'll be mild with high temperatures approaching 60 degrees. For WATD, I'm meteorologist Mike Redden.
Told him that you loved him so. 95.9 WATD, Friends with Benefits. We're back. We're back with the roundtable, Gabe.
Back with the roundtable. Yeah, I was making some very erudite and pithy point, I'm sure. But of course, since the break, it's flown the coop. I don't have any recollection, I got to be honest, of what I was saying.
Gabe's ready for a second action-packed hour of Friends with Benefits.
I am.
Here.
No, I can hardly wait. I mean,
it flew by.
Yeah, it did. No doubt about it. That was quick. I mean, it wasn't exactly the happiest subject matter, but these are important issues to be discussing, no doubt.
Well, let's put it this way: we're not. It's not going to get any happier either.
No,
it is.
I think
it's going to get happy.
Well, we were just talking about how it's easier to not care as much if the casino proposals are not in your backyard. I think that's kind of where we were, right. And this whole discussion of they put one in Taunton, doesn't that make it on the South Shore? Taunton is really sort of southwest, it's Attleboro, Taunton. It's kind of I-95. It's maybe even closer to, let's say, Rhode Island than it is to Boston. Right. So it's kind of almost out of sight, out of mind, but not really, because that's
Route 44. You're right there.
44.
Right
that's
there.
A neighboring community. That's you got Plymouth on one side, you got Middleborough, you got all those towns down there, and
that's what surprised me, Gabe. When I showed you guys the map shows where the two casinos have already got the licenses, all around that area, being green meaning they voted yes for the casinos, red being that they're not. And when you look down where the third license was supposed to go, it's a sea of red, other than, like I said, and I want to give a thank you and a call out to Senator Hedlund for being the legislator that I think that most of these guys in the South Shore didn't do. And he was out promoting yes on repeal. He was out there on the Brody show. He was out at Linden Ponds where they have a television show, and that was and for me too, being in Cohasset, going to the schoolyards, that's where we turned green. Is the fact that and our rep, as you know, he said it was going to be an 80-20 where people wanted the casino. I don't know what he was thinking, but I just want to say thank you to Senator Hedlund for really doing what I think it was a service for the Commonwealth, and that was trying to educate people on, what are these casinos really going to do? I mean, for me personally, I don't think they're ever going to make it here, and I hope they don't. I hope I hope this new administration, because a lot of them aren't big fans, as we know. The Lieutenant Governor voted against it, Karen Polito. The Attorney General, thank God. Maura Haley. Maura Haley.
Bite your tongue.
Is very opposed to gambling in our state, and so is in our new state treasurer, Debbie Goldberg. So there's 3 or 4 people, and they're all smart women. So I'm happy about that. I also am happy the fact that we can repeal this in 6 years. So Wen can come in here and write his check for $85 million, and when bankruptcies start going up around here, and we start seeing the crime that's going to come from it, what we can do is step up as citizens and say, you know what, we don't want this, and kick them out. But that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of that. Martha Coakley tried to block that vote from happening before. Is our rights going to be taken away from us when we try to repeal this in 6 years? And that's what worries me the most. Really.
Hey, I want to circle over to Andrew Devine because he's a young guy. What are you, 24?
Yeah, 24.
Okay. So, and by the way, a Curry College graduate, communications.
Yes.
Yeah. So this guy's a pro. So
please.
But I want to talk about your generation and younger.
Okay.
I mean, you're allowed to vote at 18 years old, and we were talking about this off the air. I'm curious to see in that age range. This is going to be one of your intern studies here for us.
Okay.
Is to take a little poll, go around wherever you are, and find out if these people are actual voters. I'm wondering. I'll be honest with you, when I was 18, 19, 20, I didn't have any interest.
I remember voting because I thought it was cool that I could vote. And I was in college. I had a couple of political science classes going, and I was pretty well involved. And I've been very good at voting in the national elections every year that there's a presidential election. I'll tell you that I have not been as good, and especially since I moved from New York to Massachusetts, I have sort of not been as involved. But, Andrew, did most of your colleagues vote? I mean,
it's funny you asked that because I honestly don't know. I voted because it's important to me. I know that my girlfriend voted, and I know that a couple of my friends did vote. But for the majority of people that I know, from social media, they just don't post anything. They just don't care, it seems to me. So I can't say whether the majority of them voted or didn't, but I do know for a fact that if they don't post anything, I'm guessing more than likely they just didn't vote. Which says to me, like, they could have voted and just not posted anything, which is fine. I don't like to, get all political on Facebook or Twitter anyways, just because, I reserve that for my own, private stuff. But, at the same time, it's very interesting to see people who are active in this process, say, hey, I went out and voted, you guys should do so too, be in the very, very bottom minority of most of my friends.
Right. I wonder if that has something to do, and I'm pretty sure it does, with the fact that we are now much better at being alone and encapsulated. You could talk to 20 people at one time just sitting at your computer. So the whole idea of the public good or the community good as based in our political system may be lost on this generation and coming generations. Is there any truth to that, guys? What do we think?
Well, I think it opens it up more, and this could be an opportunity. That's a good question. And as a father, my kids know who's running, who everybody is, because I'm politically involved. And I want to make sure that I carry that on to my children, and make sure that they understand what happened and how that vote came from you. And I want to, we got Veterans Day coming up on Tuesday, and I want to thank every veteran, including my dad and my brother and my nephew who's serving today. I want to thank them for freedom in this country. And as we know today, 25 years ago, the wall was ripped down, the Berlin Wall, and that was a symbol of why votes count. Because if you don't count, you might be in a communist country where they tell you what to do, when to do, and how to do. And we've been very fortunate to have this kind of a democracy, and that's what I'm talking about when we come back and repeal this casino bill. I'm just hoping, first of all, if I still live here, I might move to Virginia, by the way. They're a commonwealth, and they don't have casinos there.
Will you still be a sponsor to our show?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not trying to... I'm just saying that...
Sure.
That's where I'm thinking. Virginia Beach is beautiful, and it's the cost of living's lower. It's more people go to church, and I'm really researching leaving because I'm not going to live here with 6 casinos, but I'm not going to go down fighting it to get the money.
Well, you said in 6 years there's a repeal process. years, right?
Well, in 6 years we can repeal it, but there's a lot of things we can do in the meantime, and that's tighten up what we're going to do.
Well, there wouldn't be a casino open in the next 6 years anyway.
3 years.
Is it 3?
Yeah, 3 years.
They can
2017. Yeah,
Wow.
that's if you know what. Honestly, I think they're going to find some corruption. You got to look. You got $25 million that was flew around all around our government building, and I think Maura Healey is a very intelligent woman, and she's got the power of subpoena now. So I think she can find some corruption, and I'm hoping that she does, and I'm hoping that we can repeal this and this license. We give him win his money back, and we forget about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, with 60-40, I have to say to myself, is this a community that I want to raise my kids in? And that's a community where they think that they can rob each other out of money. 70-30. I mean, and another thing too is hats off to Jeff Deal, who was on this program on Wednesday night, Friends with Benefit Edition, and he spoke about how he voted for his constituents and what they wanted. And you know what? He was right. He was 70-30 right. And you know, I mean, I had some reservations from people, like I had said, that the reps that were up there that listening to all the hearings, because all of us don't have time for those hearings, but these hearings were happening on the addiction process and how casinos are losing jobs and losing money and other. I mean, those were available. And to be honest, I think any good legislator like Senator Hedlund, what he did is he went out and promoted his values. And I think that's what, you know, do you just vote? The question, I guess, to you, Brian, is do you just vote for your constituents, or do you vote what you think is right?
I'd put my constituents first. I would.
So you wouldn't care what you personally
Because listen,
thought.
I'm taking a pledge for office to follow
represent the majority.
Unless it was completely over the top. Has to be some sort of leeway there. You follow what I mean? Like, if they're all jumping off a bridge, I'm not going to jump off a bridge.
Right.
But at the same time, there's got to be some discretion there. So, as far as the casino thing, I can see why a state rep would follow his constituents. I can see that. I can understand it.
Right.
But on certain other things, there may be some, an issue.
Well, I mean,
just being honest.
are we right? And I get that, but aren't we electing the people that are in line with our values? Because I can tell you something: the people that represent this district, both here and the adjoining of your town, do not represent my values.
Correct.
I'm a pro-Christian, pro-family, pro-life, pro-person. That's who I am.
Yeah, but Paul,
and they represent a party, a Democratic Party, who is pro-choice, and they don't want to use the word God anywhere, and they don't represent me. I'm not in line with them. So what do I do? Move?
Well, if you're a state rep and you're voting against your constituents' wishes, then you might not be a state rep very long.
Well, that comes
not going
to
to
the
vote
problem
for you the next time through,
right? And that comes to the problem with the churches around here. I mean, is it so bad? Why are we 44th when it comes to attending church? Is it a lot of my Catholic friends say that the Catholic Church blew it? What do you think, Brian? You think they blew it?
Yeah. Yep.
Guys?
How'd they blow it? What do you mean?
Well, they blew it. You had the scandals with the children.
The way they handled
they blew it. I
awful.
mean, you've got people living Christian lifestyles around here that don't go to church, so they're not getting that reinforced message. And it's interesting enough too is the Catholics voted 60-40 for the gambling. When the Catholic and the Catholic Church came out at the last minute, the last month or so, and stated that everybody should vote for repeal.
Well, they had to.
But here's another thing that I don't know if all our listeners knew this. The Catholic Church actually sold a rectory for 3 times what it was worth in Springfield to MGM. So they could have stopped casinos from happening, but they were sold out for $650,000. Yeah. Now, if you know that and you know your church did that, so where are you? And my message or my what I want to say to my friends and some of the listeners out there is, if you feel disenfranchised by the Catholic Church, go to another church. But go to church. I mean, it's the proudest day of my life on my Sunday is when I walk in that, when I got my wife and my 3 beautiful kids. I'm 15 feet tall when I walk in there, and a lot of guys aren't feeling that, and it's kind of sad. And I wish they would just take my word for it. It works. It's a good lifestyle.
I bet that there are people who would argue not against going to church, but that they found spirituality in a different way.
Right.
They may not need a church or a synagogue or a mosque to actually be in tune with the spiritual
to know Jesus. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, there's going to be a number of different options that you can use as an individual to practice that faith, whatever you have your faith in. But it is interesting to see that we're so far at the back of the list with attending church. I wonder if there's sort of a laissez-faire sense of it is what it is and my life is going to be what it's going to be.
Well, I think it's the Catholic Church, Chris. Most of us being brought up Irish or Italian Catholics, Roman Catholics. I mean, there's a huge, especially here in Las Vegas. I mean, it's probably 80-20 down here. I mean, it's the largest Irish population in the state. I mean,
it is.
Yeah, I mean, so you've got churches that are closing down. You've got, like you said, you're honoring a church, and remember, it's not the sinner, it's the sin. But this church has a lot of sinners in the last 20 years, and the sin was hidden and the sin goes without saying.
Listen, it's as bad as it gets.
It's as bad as
it gets.
Right, exactly.
It's one level up from murder.
Right. Absolutely.
Because you're murdering the rest of their lives.
Children, right.
Mentally.
Right.
I mean,
right.
There's no excuse.
So how do you
for
forgive a church like that? I mean, for me, I was lucky. I went with my wife's church, and I've been happy ever since and I got to be honest, I went to Catholic schools my whole life pretty much, and it was boring. It was underfunded, but I still knew Jesus, and I thanked him for that. However, I just think that we gotta. The only way that this state's going to really survive, because if it continues this way, it's really not. I mean, the casinos are one thing, and I think morality around here is just at its all-time low. And I think when we have some new administration coming in, I'm hopeful for our state. That's all I can tell you. I was very disappointed to say that we don't care, like you were saying, or we're not educated, or the jobs. Really fooled. 60% of us were fooled. It's disheartening for me, to be honest.
So I have a funny thing. Do you remember George Carlin?
Sure, of course.
Mm-hmm. Andrew, you know him?
Oh yeah.
You do?
Oh yeah.
I'm afraid to even play this on the air, but I'm not gonna. No, it's on YouTube. I'm looking at Ryan. He's petrified right now. He wants to live to see another day. It's a bit. It says George Carlin doesn't vote. It's a 4-minute bit that probably Andrew and I will probably visit this and play it soon, because we'll cut out all the spoilers.
Yeah, exactly.
It says George Carlin speaks the truth. Voting is another way to keep you in a closed, distracted bubble. So that's his opinion.
Yeah, he was very insightful in a lot of ways about these things. I mean, you could laugh your ass off, but also leave thinking. And, there's very few comics today who don't hold him up on the Mount Rushmore of comedians.
I gotta say,
No
like,
question.
even as a young person, like, I was introduced to him in high school through some of my friends, and I thought he was hilarious. I absolutely loved him. But what you said, Gabe, is that you leave thinking. You leave, I remember he said something. No, it was in college. I was given a piece of paper, a very well written document in response to 9/11.
Okay.
And it was all about how the Americans just it's this basic way about talking about Americans and how we reacted to this and all this stuff. It was beautifully written, and it was written by George Carlin.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things that I read, and I could not imagine him writing it. But then again, I couldn't imagine it coming from anybody else.
Right.
It was so touching and so beautiful that it could come from such a really smart, intelligent man.
Right. I mean, I think we overlook the humor in comedy, because in order for it to make a large number of people laugh on a consistent basis, there's got to be real connectivity to truth. We all have to kind of understand it and believe it. Plus, this man made his life being paid to think about things and talk about them. I mean, this is...
Yeah, who does that too is Jimmy Tingle. He does that. He's he's obviously he says he's a liberal Democrat. He's just got a great great wit to him. So yeah, I mean, if maybe you can get the message a little bit more by getting people to think. I mean, that's really what it is. I mean,
the casino bill, there's tons of information out there about building jobs, bringing business to the community, how what we hear is how beneficial it's going to be. We don't hear the other side, and I think that's
it's outspent $25 million to $500,000.
So there you go.
I mean, you're not gonna, and it was frustrating for me is the fact that it was getting close. And Brian and I were looking at the pool. It was like 48, 46.
Close.
And then the TV ads came on, and they got fake firefighters and, Springfield to the tornado. It's like, people either bought that, that bull, 10%. That's all you need is 10%. And you swing that vote.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a swing.
Yeah,
we'll
and
see.
we get $25 million. Hey, look, for $25 million, I could convince people here that 60% of Massachusetts people that the sky is now green. If you gave me $25 million. I mean,
well, some mornings over
it looks
Harbor,
green, yeah, and sometimes purple. I mean, yeah, exactly. See, and then there's your check. Exactly. And what do you got to say? Yeah, sometimes I see the green. Here you go. There's your check. All right, Brian, what do you see? Brian might be a little tough. I might have to give him 2 checks.
That's right.
But we'll see what you can be sold. I mean, everybody. Honestly, for me, it was just seeing people getting sold. It was like the guy that comes out from the greater Boston. I won't mention any names. He the Chamber of Commerce, really. I mean, talking about a small business owner getting a kick in the nuts. I mean, how do you really say to a small business owner, the Chamber, why would we ever join you? I mean, you for casinos? What could that possibly bring to a small mom and pop restaurant?
Well, what would their answer be?
To who?
To you. If
the Chamber?
Yeah, what would the Chamber say?
They wouldn't give you a comment, I would imagine. Actually, I take that back, because the South Shore Chamber was biased, and they didn't come out with anything. Which was good. But there was so many other chambers that were just bought and paid for. It was just ridiculous. So you get the chambers, you get the unions with the two years of jobs, and what else you got? I mean, but here's the good news. In 6 years, you're not going to have that jobs bill anymore, because those unions are gone. So now you just got a couple hotel workers saying, yeah, the casinos are great.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, would you worry, and I want to ask everybody here, how confident are you that we can do this in 6 years? Do you think it could happen? Like, do you think that 10% could swing?
I think it could.
Of course.
It would have to
there'll be a sample size, right?
Yeah, I mean, you get some actual data. I mean, we can see what happens when the casinos move in, and the negative impacts can be felt probably pretty quickly.
Right.
How do you know you don't fall in love with the idea in 5 years too?
I'll never. You can never. And here's
just
the
wondering.
thing: you'll never be able to convince the 40% that voted against casinos to ever vote for casinos. It's the 60%, and 20-30% of that are jobs, don't care. And when they start waking it up, and your grandmother starts losing her home, that's when you personally affect. When it gets close to your house, like you said, not my backyard.
Yep.
When it gets close, and they're going to get close, I just want to make sure that this town or this state doesn't lose its right to vote against it.
So let me ask you this. What if they build these nice, well, not nice, but big casinos?
Yeah.
And in 6 years they repeal them. Where do they go? They go,
They got to go.
They got to go?
They got to go.
So they just become hotels.
That's right.
I mean,
that's what happens. But that's what happens.
Okay.
I guess.
I don't know.
But and this is the problem. And this is what goes. You just asked the perfect question.
I'm good.
It can't be. I guess it should be. If we don't want it, it's going to go away. And that's what scares me, is that if we lose that, that's when we're talking pitchforks, okay? Because we lost our right to vote on it.
What do you think?
So, in other words, you see what I'm saying, Gabe?
No, I do. Absolutely.
You're almost like, what happens? Well, what happens, they go away, and that's it. We shouldn't even think 2 seconds about it. If we can vote tomorrow and we can vote them out, well, that's what we got to do. And if we follow the guidelines in 6 years and we get the signatures, we better not have an attorney general that's going to try to fight that down. And if we do, now we're talking we're in the communist country.
What's it going to take?
Well, that's a good point. Yeah,
that's my biggest fear.
Yeah,
because if we can repeal it in 6 years and just say I'm just a blowhard.
No, that's
Paul,
true.
You're wrong. The casinos are doing well. Bankruptcies aren't down.
Right.
Everybody's got this world-class entertainment. The food's great. Everybody's doing great.
Right.
We're building more places. All right, fine. We're fine, right? So when we start to say, and this is the thing that scares me, is they pass laws that they can all go work for the casinos 1 year after. So, Andrew, you're a state rep. You're making $65,000, right? Now I need your vote. Hey, you want a job when you leave? Perfectly legal. You can come work with. You can quit tomorrow.
1 year.
And I'll sign a 1 year contract with you. I'll sign a 5 year. I bought you. I just.
Well, what if I say no?
I'm going to get someone to run against you.
Okay.
And fund them.
All right.
If you don't, you're a patriot. But. I'm just saying that
so
it didn't happen that last time. There wasn't a lot of patriots out there.
So what you're saying is that the Temptation agreed will settle in.
I think we got. I think this is the first thing that we need to do. And I'm going to personally prohibit. I'm going to write a bill to prohibit gambling in this country, in this state. I can do that as a citizen. Citizen, because I'm a Commonwealth. We can do it, and I'm going to do it through my state rep who didn't agree with me, and he was proved to be wrong because our constituency voted against gambling.
Did he just get reelected?
He just got unopposed, so we're going to change that.
Why don't you run against him?
Well,
have you ever thought of that?
Of course, I've thought of that. It would be.
What would stop you? Why is this?
Well,
guy,
I mean, it's a lot of work. Is
he enamored by is his constituents enamored by his performance?
I would say that. No. I would say he doesn't represent me or any small business owner by.
No, what does the rest of his constituents think besides
I
you?
think he backtails on Senator Hedlund because I think people in my district think, they like compromise. They send a senator that's a Republican and a Democrat that's a rep. So I think they feel like, and I think a lot of people here in the South Shore feel that way. They put up Jim Cantwell, and they know that they put up Josh Cutler again. But Mrs. Nyman lost to a Republican. So I think this South Shore is more Republican than ever. I think Jim Pavlik, if you bring some of these folks back in the next 2 years, they'll win. I think having a governor come by that the new elected Republican governor is going to get more seats. So if I was, I would say that, and I have said to Jim Pavlik that I hope he runs again, and I hope someone runs against. What was the actual percentage of votes in that race? Do you know? I think it was 1,700.
No, but I'm saying is like percentages. What did Pavlik get?
You can look it up.
Okay, I don't have it.
It was close. I mean,
tell you what. Why don't we take a commercial break and we'll come back and we'll see.
Look it up.
If we can find it. It must be on Google. Right?
Yeah. Do you have
maybe Ryan has it. Do you have any number? Ryan's like, you kidding me? I'm not in here crunching numbers, guys. I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm sorry. Just a joke. All right, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to 95.9 WATD, Friends with Benefits.
East Bay Grill is an elegant family restaurant conveniently located on the historic Plymouth waterfront. Enjoy East Bay Grill's expansive menu and wine list. East Bay Grill also caters to your wedding and function needs. Live entertainment Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights starting at 9. The East Bay Grill on the Plymouth waterfront, 508-746-9751, and online at eastbaygrill.com. The law office of Philip M. Markella is a full-service law firm with a focus on family and divorce law. When your marriage dissolves, Phil's office will help you navigate those often rough waters. They'll represent your interests with respect and compassion. The law office of Philip M. Markella also assists with estate planning, real estate transactions, and adoptions. Get in touch with the law office of Philip M. Markella, 19 Depot Street, Duxbury. Their telephone number, 781-934-7977, 781-934-7977, and on the web at markellalaw.com. That's MARKELLA law.com. Experience the Atlantis Sports Club difference. Atlantis Sports Club and Spas are located throughout Massachusetts, including locations in Braintree, Holbrook, and Hyannis, featuring state-of-the-art cardiovascular and strength training equipment, plus indoor and outdoor pools and full-service spas. Atlantis offers something for everyone. How about Zumba, spinning, and strength training classes, swim lessons for the kids, or a luxurious spa treatment? Your Atlantis membership allows access to all locations. Atlantis Braintree, located off the highway across from the South Shore Plaza, features beautiful indoor and outdoor pools. You'll find the newest Holbrook location next to Stop and Shop with plenty of parking and a spacious floor plan. Take a mini vacation at Atlantis Sports Club and Spa in Hyannis. Play golf, then relax by the resort-style pool. End the day with a relaxing treatment at the spa at Atlantis. Mention this ad and receive 20% off any spa treatment. Experience the Atlantis difference today. Visit AtlantisSportsClubs.com and book your tour today.
Hey, it's Brian Stratton, and I'd like to talk to you about Mamma Mia's restaurant. With 5 convenient locations around the South Shore, you don't have to drive far to enjoy delicious Italian cuisine, just the way you like it. Whether you're in Carver, Plymouth, Hanover, Kingston, or the new location in Green Harbor, Mamma Mia's is something to please any palate. Catering, gift cards, and takeout are available 7 days a week. Contact Mamma Mia's online at mammamias.net. That's mammamias.net.
Impressions Detailing of Duxbury is your #1 source for auto detailing on the South Shore. Owner Mike Ferreira and his staff have years of auto detailing experience. Located next to Duxbury Motorworks at 1474 Tremont Street in Duxbury. Impressions Detailing also provides window tinting and headlight restoration. They service sedans, small SUVs, and large SUVs or trucks. Contact Impressions Detailing at 781-934-2935 or by email at impressionsdetail@yahoo.com. That telephone number again, 781-934-2935. Impressions Detailing of Duxbury.
Hi, this is Brian Stratton from the band The Infractions. Just recently, my friend Tim Heinstead from Southeast Property Management told me about Paul Bartlett of Duxbury. Paul has been diagnosed with leukemia and has gone through aggressive treatments to help conquer this disease in the past weeks. On Saturday, November 22nd at 7:30, join the Infractions and many of Paul's friends and join our fundraising kickoff benefit for Paul at the Duxbury American Legion. There will be food, music, and a 50-50 raffle. Again, join us at the American Legion Hall on Route 3A. Saturday, November 22nd at 7:30 p.m. for this very worthy cause. We thank you.
Friends with Benefits with your hosts, Brian Stratton.
I am shocked and chagrined, mortified and stupefied. This trial is outrageous. It is a waste of the taxpayers' time and money. They were innocent bystanders. Now, you just think about that term. Innocent bystanders. We know they were bystanders. Nobody's disputing that. So how can a bystander be guilty? No such thing. Have you ever heard of a guilty bystander? No, because you cannot be a bystander and be guilty. Bystanders are by definition innocent. That is the nature of bystanding. They want to create a whole new animal, the guilty bystander.
And Mark Trongone.
Oh, he's taking Mona away from me.
He stole your girlfriend?
Yes, she's in love with him.
Amazing. I drive them to lesbianism, he brings them back.
95.9 WATD. We got a caller on the line? Jim Pavlik.
Hey. Pavlik.
Hey, Jim, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Paul. How are you?
No, this is Brian. Paul's over here. He's
I'm sorry.
He's all excited to talk to you. How you been?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Good. We were actually just thinking about the what the percentages were of your election.
Yeah, there were a total of 17,682 votes.
Okay.
And I received 41.45%, and my opponent received 58.5 or whatever it was. So they broke it down. They said it was 41% and 59%.
Man, a lot of close races this year, huh? Man.
Yeah. That's what the margin I lost. If I were able to garner 1,527 more votes, I would have won.
Which is I'm sorry. Which is not insurmountable.
Especially and Jim, good job, buddy. I mean, that's the first time running, and you come that close. I mean, this is the first time. Again, how do you? Thanks for calling. How do you feel about You must feel good about that, and hopefully you'll keep the campaign going.
I had a lot of people work very, very hard, and I still feel I'm still recovering from all the hard work. I just came back from a trip with my American Airlines pilot job. I flew down to Sao Paulo, Brazil on Thursday night, and I was up all night long flying back. I got home this morning. So I'm driving around Scituate right now, picking up our yard signs.
Hey, save them. You know what's funny? I have a couple in my garage, and I was saying,
help you out there, Paul. I appreciate that.
And I'm just going to save them for next time. I'm going to keep them in my garage. I have a lot of signs actually in my garage. I got mine. I got a bunch of other candidates.
Yeah, July 4th, we put them in the bonfire.
I had to do an honest evaluation. It was a lot of work. My family paid a price for it.
Well, the good news...
We put up a good fight, and I heard what you guys said earlier and a lot of people feel the same way. But it requires a sincere commitment, and I'm gonna have to talk it over with my wife again to see if she wants to go through with it with me. Because the word for my wife, Janine, God bless her, I would not have done as well as we did.
We certainly saw her on the side of the road quite a bit, waving at vehicles going by. Hey Jim, what is your take on the younger vote? Are we getting the younger vote? Are they getting out there and voting? 18, 19, 20, 21 year olds?
Oh yeah, I saw a lot of young people vote Tuesday.
Yes.
I heard it was supposed to be a low turnout. They predicted, based on the number of absentee ballot votes they received in Marshfield anyway. I don't know about Ditchwood. But they predicted somewhere, between 10 to 20% voter turnout on election day, at the most 25%. And it turned out to be, I think it was 60 or 65%.
Yes. At 65. Cohasset was 65%. That's awesome. So there is, and I think it was an important election. And congratulations on the governor winning that. And I think that if you were to consider, running again, I know this as a former candidate myself, I can tell you this. And the owner of the show, the owner of the station, told me when I first started running against Bob Hedlund, he said, "You guys are going to be friends after this." And that was before I met him, and I consider Bob a good friend of mine, and he was right. So you don't really know what you're going to get out of this, and it's not going to be that balloon, everybody, yay, patting on your back, because that's probably not. But that's not what I don't think you're looking for. I think you've made what a contribute that you did to your community by giving us all an alternative to the way it's being running up there. And I think that your message helped in Norwell and I think that again in Duxbury, and all I can tell you guys on that side is to keep fighting, because I think now that you got a governor in there, you'll have a lot more help the next time coming around.
Oh, thank you very much.
I do think you're right with the governor, Charlie Baker, coming in.
In 2 years from now, doing a fundraiser for you. I think I'm going.
It makes a big difference. No, it makes a big difference on the campaign trail.
Yeah.
You have Charlie Baker out there smiling, waving, and shaking hands.
And I think he's going to do a great job. I think we are so blessed to have somebody. And you know what? Again, I ran in 2010 with him, and we walked in the Duxbury Parade together, and I saw how hard he worked there. But he worked hard, but he didn't work smart. This time he worked smart. I met him on the trail, and he talked to my wife and I for 15 minutes. I tried to convince him why casinos were bad, but I'll tell you, he had what he needed to do. He did he got the women's to vote for him. He had his wife out there more than, last time he was covered with a bunch of suits with him. This time he was people, shaking hands, hugging people, and I'm excited that he's going to be our new governor. And it's folks like you that help put him there.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, go, Jim. Thanks for calling the show, and we're always open.
All the time. Yeah.
Line's always open for you.
Hey, Roger that. Yeah, no kidding. It was just a coincidental thing that I turned the radio on, and WATD happened to be on, and I heard you guys.
Well, thanks so much.
Talking about the election, and Janine said, my wife said, "Hey, why don't you call in?" I said, "Yeah, great idea."
Anytime, brother.
I enjoyed being on your show last Sunday as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, man, and have a great week.
Guys, God bless.
Hey, Ryan, let's get Ryan on the air. Ryan's over there with his microphone, because I'm still but the vote. Ryan, did you vote?
Of course I voted. I vote in every election. And actually, I was going to jump in earlier. I find that a lot of my friends, at least, we all vote, and it's actually really interesting. As I'm 22, and my friends range from 19 to 24. And I have a group of 6 guys who we all just always hang out. We'll watch South Park, we'll watch all those crazy shows, but we also sit down and we'll watch the news.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we sit down, we'll watch political aspects of TV, and we fight with each other. None of us have the same opinions on anything, but we're all educated. We're all on top of things, and we all vote.
You should get Kearney over there.
And
with
you're
you guys.
engaged.
You want to hear some arguments?
It
get
sounds
him
like
over
you guys
there.
are all engaged to the topics that come up, and that's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's
it's
good
great.
to hear.
Yeah, it's great. And like Andrew was saying, I don't see a lot of stuff on Twitter per se, but it's, I don't see a lot of young people talking about it, but I do know that a lot of young people vote. I have a lot of friends who are politically active, and I think it's actually, a big thing in my age range that people are wanting to and are becoming involved in politics.
See, that's really refreshing for me to hear too. Thank you, Ryan. Because I don't have the hugest social circle in the world normally because I'm working a lot and I'm so busy to get in touch with my friends. Also, most of my friends from college live outside the state,
of course,
so it's very hard to get in touch with them sometimes.
Sure,
but it's really refreshing to hear that especially from our caller that what was it, 60-something% of young people came out to vote. That's incredible.
Is that what he said?
I think that's what he said, and I'm
about right.
Yeah, I'm floored by that because I thought it was going to be a lot less than that. That's wonderful.
To vote. I mean, that's when you say 60%, you're talking about 60% that are registered to vote came out. So,
right.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks, young kids that aren't registered.
Right, but still, like that,
that's good. No,
I'd certainly say that's fantastic.
Of the
fantastic.
whole, and honestly, like that's for all of us to say that 65% came out and voted for this election just means that there are people paying attention. I just, on my end, I wish they voted differently on the casinos. It's just that. That's what happens.
And for young people,
what do young people think about casinos? Your friends, I mean, they must have had some. And
it was a whole skew.
It was back and forth, right?
Back and forth.
50-50 probably.
60-40. More against casinos.
Wow. Okay. That surprises me.
I was actually really surprised with that as well because, right. You think a lot of people are wanting to go out and gamble.
Absolutely.
But in the same sense, Connecticut's not that far away if we choose to go do so.
Or Rhode Island.
And what's funny, I've heard from the young kids on that is exactly what you just said. Connecticut's far enough. I don't want it too close to me.
No,
that's what I heard.
Yeah, exactly. Because especially at a young age, like if we haven't experienced gambling as much, if it's close, we're gonna go and we're gonna go again. We're gonna keep going.
Right.
I don't want that for myself. Sure, I enjoy going to the casino every once in a while and make my annual donation.
Right.
And,
there you go. And that's fine.
But I don't want it in.
As long as it's not 3 figures.
That's interesting because you have such a good perspective on that because you have you're in line of your age group. You're not going to think about your future kids when you're going to think about that. I mean, and that seems like I just can't, for me, wrap my head around the fact that any parent or any grandparent would vote for casinos to come for their grandchildren. I don't get it. I don't know how 60% of us out there said that's a good idea to bring in 6 casinos. My grandson would love that. I'd love to see him up there as a dealer. I mean, where does people think? I mean, you're saying you're voting for your 22-year-olds.
I'm voting for my future, really.
Right. Exactly. And what do you think the older folks were voting for? I just think this whole generation of the me generation that's ahead of us is just that from the greatest generation to the me generation, and I don't think that I want to leave this place a better place. A better planet for my kids. And I think, Brian, all of us share that. But I think there's people out there that are, especially the older folks now, that don't feel that same way. I mean, how can you vote for casinos saying you're going to make it a better place for your grandkids?
Well, I think that there's a real lack of forethought. We're very good at looking at what do I need, what do we need now? How can this change us now? In 2 years, we'll have X, yes, but what will it be in 10 years? And I think there's a lack of forethought there that can really come back and hurt us.
Yeah, bingo.
I agree with Gabe. I think a lot of people were thinking that it's just going to bring more money to the state and it's going to be a short-term, release that we're going to have. They're not thinking long-term.
Right. And that's where the elders come in. I mean, it's good to hear that we got some young kids here smarter than the elders. Usually the elders are supposed to be the smart ones. But this generation of the me generation, they're just the most selfish, self-centered people on the planet. I mean, it's never really happened that you have them passing drug laws. Like, I can't imagine us sitting here and what Bill Clinton and that generation of George W. Bush, baby boomers, came in, and they made a deal that says we're going to get free prescription drugs for the rest of our lives, and we're going to put it on our kids' budget. and not even care about it, not even caring enough about it to fund it. It's an unfunded mandate that was written that allows drug companies who wrote it to give free prescriptions to seniors that half of them don't need the crap. I mean, I got my dad, God bless him, but he can't sleep at night, and he's telling me that he can't sleep at night, and he's taking sleeping pills, and then he stays with me for 10 weeks over the summer, and this happened 3 years ago, and he asked me for coffee at 7 o'clock at night. I said, Dad, you don't need coffee. That's why you're taking the sleeping pills. He stopped the coffee at 7. He has no more sleeping pills. My mother-in-law, she's waking up going to the bathroom 4 times a night. And so she has to be put on prescription drugs. And I said, Mom, what do you do before you go to the bathroom? Before you go to bed. She shows me a gallon of water that she drinks before she goes to bed.
Yeah, but you should drink water before you go to bed.
A gallon?
Well, I don't know about a gallon, but a lot.
No, I mean, water consumption.
Why would she drink a gallon,
important.
by the way?
Exactly. Why
No,
do people
I'm asking
do what they do?
Okay, so Gabe's our resident expert here.
What we know is that drinking water is very important.
Very
and I tell all of my clients to taper it as the day gets longer, so you have a better, less interrupted sleep. The less you drink in the evening, the easier it is to sleep, period.
So why wouldn't a doctor say that, except for the fact that, he could just write you a free prescription?
That's because that's what they do. That doctor probably had 3 rooms going at once. Right. Tell me your symptoms. Here's your script. It's great to see you. I'll see you in 3 months. And he's out the door.
Did she even tell her doctor that, she was going to the bathroom for 4 times?
Who knows?
I mean, and then that's because it's because she's drinking a gallon of water.
Well, let's not forget, our generation, when I say our generation, that I don't mean Andrew and Ryan, I mean the generation before you guys. Our parents, I remember my mother sitting down with her doctor, and I was with her. She was already suffering from brain cancer at the end of her life, but she before she started the conversation, she would say something like, I know you're busy and I don't want to take a lot of your time, but and I'm like, Mom, what do you mean? This is your time. Yeah. We're new. Yeah. That's new for us. Or the generation before
$250 an hour. It's your time.
We're more apt to get up front and really get taken care of because we make it so. Yeah. And then with managed care, what's that done? It's reduced payments to docs. So doctors need to have a conveyor belt in their office. You come in, you get 6 minutes of my time, and then I'm out the door. So it all adds up to
$1,800 a month for guys like me.
Well, but then what happens? He leaves the office to go out and have lunch with a pharmaceutical sales rep, who is going to help him make a lot of money selling Celebrex. That woman who was on the phone
Just
earlier.
on the phone,
her situation. Right. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure it's helping her with her joint pain and helping reduce swelling.
But there's other alternatives, more holistic. There's turmeric. She could be taking turmeric.
And other non-inflammatory foods. I mean, if she's doing any kind of dairy, we know that adds to inflammation. But beyond that, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The drug companies are benefiting off of the physicians who are benefiting off of the drug companies, and it's sort of selling health and wellness, and it's pretty sickening.
And the thing to do in this, we got to do something about it, because it's been a can that was kicked down the road all often enough. These baby boomers coming back, and they're going to retire at a rate of 133% in the next 15 to 20 years. So the problem is that what do we do about that? And this federal government back in 1988 had said that we have to privatize fitness in America because the government has no role to play here. In other words, if you're going to collect, you've been paying into a system for so long, and I'm a businessman, right? And the government is a business. Let's not forget that.
No kidding.
So you've been paying me, Andrew, for years and years and years, right? A whole generation of you. Now I got to stop paying you. I got to start taking that money, and I'd like to see what's in that account. I'd really like.
Could you imagine?
I think it's bankrupt, but it's just say we promised Andrew for the rest of his life. So when you retire, you're going to be looking for those checks. And guess what? This generation is the most unhealthy generation of all time, okay? So they're going to be looking for free prescription drugs. They're going to be looking for free ankles, free hip replacements, you name it. They're looking for fake faces, fake this, and they want us to pay for it. Yep. And you know what the government said? The government said, we're not going to even keep you healthy. We're going to, what? What are they going to do? They're going to hope you die, because then they don't have to pay you.
Right.
So the government has to, that's why it's important for my role as a fitness owner to privatize fitness in America. So what we're going to do in the next 2 years is we're going to take what Jeff Deal did, and God bless him, and get the language and get the writers out there and pass legislation to get health care covered by insurance. And when I say that, I mean when you go to your doctor and he tells you got to lose 30 pounds, you need an athletic trainer to make sure that you get a safe workout to do that. I mean, we can't just wait until you get hurt and then say, okay, we can take care of you now.
Right.
We need a more preventive care.
Well, not only, you're completely right. I mean, one of the good things is that Massachusetts is one of the 5 states that's been approved to treat obesity as a disease. I mean, I work in a medical office that treats obesity. These patients come in for visits, and we do 4 modalities, and what we do is treat their obesity. We put them on a nutrition plan. They see the psychotherapist, they see the personal trainer, and they also see the physician or the physician's assistant. And that's a step in the right direction. We're trying to help these people turn it around. However, until we get away from physicians prescribing to take care of symptoms as the cause and effect, we're in serious trouble. I mean, what we know is that we're not living healthy lives. Why? Because there's a pill for that.
Right, exactly. And
well, that's what it is. There's a Band-Aid
GMOs
to anything. And it's you know what is one of the biggest scams that not scam, but I think is the the acid reflux.
Oh yeah.
Acid comes from food. Did you realize that?
Yeah, I mean,
it comes from food. So what you're eating is causing the acid.
Right.
So let's go look at what you just ate for the last 24 hours.
Brian,
stop eating that.
And you know what most of it is? Pork. It's mostly pig.
Well,
Listen,
it could be carbonated beverages.
Carbonated beverages are huge.
Huge.
You know,
Pork's
what we
big.
know is that if we took the pH of everybody in this building right now, we'd all be too acidic.
Absolutely.
Personally,
Probably,
I
yeah.
would probably be right down the middle because I've been reading, I eat pretty impeccably now. But the reason that I became a health coach is because we need to help people live healthfully, not live the way they want to and then have the doctor come in and cure it. I mean, type 2 diabetes, you're 60 pounds overweight and you're on 2 or 3 diabetes medications. Why? Why aren't we changing how you fuel your body and getting rid of those medications?
Because the doctors are paid off when they don't want to.
That's all it is. It's sad.
It was a rhetorical question.
No,
I
no,
know
yeah,
why.
yeah,
But,
I know it
we
is,
don't. We, in Western medicine, we treat the symptoms. Eastern medicine, they really treat the cause. And I think we need to move in that direction in order for this country to be healthy.
And like you just said, though, and here's a good point to that. Like what you just said is we need to be proactive. I mean, you got obesity being caused. What if we treat them before they get obese? Like let's.
Well, that's the whole point of this.
Well, I know.
Do you guys remember? Maybe you remember when I was in high school. I remember the President's Council on Fitness.
Yeah,
we had like fitness requirements that we had to meet every year. Yeah. And I remember going through tests. And I don't know that schools ever do that now at all. No, I mean, aren't there public schools that require gym once a week?
Yeah, my kids get twice a week.
But they gave
Physical
you
education.
I
had to fight for that because it went down to 1 time a week.
It's absurd.
I went to California schools, but I don't know, the presidential seal or something. It was a presidential.
Yeah,
patch.
John F. Kennedy started that.
Yeah, but what you do is you get this little round badge.
Yeah.
You put it on your left shoulder, like on your jacket. Mm-hmm. So it was like a. But
and where's President Obama on that? I mean, seriously, and that was a disappointment. President Obama's, I mean. He's got a lot on his plate, and you could say that jobs have recovered, the stock market's better, financially we're better. He can make all those are good arguments. You can debate his foreign policy, just wasn't given a good cards. It's just that when there's things like what you would think would be simple, for him to reinvent the President Council on Fitness, instead he subs it out to his wife. I mean, and then he says he wouldn't sign a GMO bill because now if you eat GMOs and you get sick and get cancer, you can't sue them.
Right.
And he signed that.
Right.
And he said he wouldn't sign that. So it's like, how much? Yeah, I mean,
I could do literally 10 hours of this because there's so much to talk about in this realm. The way that we care for our populace with health and nutrition is backwards.
Absolutely.
The way sugar is addictive, and they sell it to us.
Right.
These companies are Nabisco is in the business to make money, not to make people healthy. And I'm not saying Nabisco only, but
right.
I look at my niece and my nephew, and I'm genuinely afraid. Now, luckily, my sister's smart enough. She feeds them healthful foods some of the time. But these kids are addicted to sugar. They I don't know that any meal goes by without their not eating some kind of sugar substance. And there's good ways to make it happen, and there are bad ways. But overall, if we continue to just treat symptoms and allow doctors to tell people who are overweight and living a life of imminent decline to just take a pill to cure it, how are you helping? We're not helping anyone. I mean, that's why I went into this field.
Listen, this is the biggest business in the world right now.
No doubt.
Is the health profession, and more money is made with prescription drugs, with surgeries. I mean, believe me, the surgeries, and like Samantha said in the first hour, is trying to whisk her into this surgery, that surgery, because there's a lot of money to be made in this.
Of course.
All around the board. They don't typically, listen, they're thinking about money.
Right.
first.
And when are we going to stop
It's
saying
sad.
that too? When we start saying
sad.
when are we going to stop saying, oh, it's a job? I mean, what? Or somebody that does sell prescription drugs. Oh, he's doing so well. It's like, wait a minute, what does he do? He sells prescription drugs. I mean, really, are we honoring people that because they make the money, or if it's a job? Like even this, again, it's disappointing with the casino bill where people would say that now we're going to rob little old ladies out of their inheritance and their retirements on a casino that's not going to give them anything, but that's going to create jobs. Really?
Yeah,
it's going to create jobs.
It's tough to legislate how you live your life, but if you look at countries that have a universal payer, those that they take the profit out of medicine, a lot of this would change.
Absolutely.
Hate to cut you guys off, but we got to get a commercial break. 95.9 WATD, Friends with Benefits.
Hey, this is Steve Lucas here from Toto. Hi, this is Kenny Loggins. This is Ted Nugent, celebrating the American dream.
Hi, this is Mike Love of the Beach Boys.
Hi, this is Daryl Hall. Hi, this is Robert Lamb with Chicago.
Hi, everybody. It's Joe Walsh. Hello, everybody. This is Graham Nash from the Hollies and from Crosby, Stills & Nash and Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, of course. Right now, you're listening to me on my friend Brian Stratton's show. It's on WATD 95.9.